Hi, Brookie. So today we're going to be reading Walter the Farting Dog by William Kotzwinkle and Glenn Murray, and it's illustrated by Audrey Coleman. And the reason I like this book so much is because I think the sound effects are super fun, and I also think that the pictures are really great because in every photo you see Walter, but you also see a couple other things like this duck and a cat, and so we'll keep our eyes peeled for both of those. Walter the Farting Dog. Betty and Billy brought Walter home from the dog pound. Nobody wanted him, said Billy. But we love him, said Betty. Well, he smells awful, said their mother. I think you better give him a bath. So we got our kitty cat here, and we got our new dog, and this is Billy, and this is Betty, and that's the duck we're going to see throughout the story, too. Isn't that a pretty sunset, too? It has, like, all the colors of the rainbow. Mother walked in and said, he still smells awful. And that's when they got their first clue. The telltale bubbles in the water. He's probably just a little nervous, said Mother hopefully. His stomach must be upset. But Walter's stomach was not upset. Walter's stomach was fine. He just felt perfectly normal. He just farted a lot. So if you fart in water, it'll give you bubbles like that. But also, see that air they drew? That's pretty funny. And then there's Mom covering her nose. What's funny is in the pictures, even the pictures are covering their noses. Well, that guy is. These guys look like they're smelling something bad too, though, huh? Poor Walter. Look how sad he is. Walter farted. He did it when he bathed. He did it when he played with Betty and Billy. He did it when he walked around the house. He did it when he was in the dining room. He did it when he was in the kitchen. He even did it when he was sleeping. That dog farts morning, noon, and night, said their father. He can't help it, Daddy, said Betty and Billy. They didn't mind Walter's farts. So what if he farts, said Betty to Billy. When they were alone in the room with Walter, Billy agreed. Walter agreed too. He sat there, looking innocent and farting. Take him to the vet, said Father. So we got Walter, Betty, and Billy and their dad. We also have the cat and the goose. Farting, said the vet, is called rectal flatulence in the medical profession. The doctor prescribed a diet change. And a diet change is anything that you eat is considered a diet. So if I only eat Pop-Tarts, my diet is Pop-Tarts. If I only eat salad, or if I eat everything, my diet is everything. There's our doctor. And you know what's funny? These guys look like they smell it too, huh? They gave Walter every kind of food. He farted. They tried cat food on him. They gave him hot dogs and hamburgers and lettuce and tomato sandwiches. They gave him fried chicken. They gave him rabbit food. They made him a vegetarian, just like you. No matter what that dog eats, he turns it into farts, roared their father. Here's the vegetarian in him. They gave him bananas and carrots and corn on the cob and sandwiches and French fries and even kitty food. And look, the kitty does not look that happy about it. Walter doesn't really look that happy either, does he? Walter got the blame for everyone else's farts, too. If Uncle Irv let one slip, he went and stood near Walter. And all he had to say was, Walter! And everyone looked at poor Walter. Uncle Irv is a trickster. There's our kitty cat. See, there's the air coming out of his butt. But the funny thing is that you can't really see farts, can you? You just hear them and smell them. He has to go back to the pound, said Father. No, Daddy, please, begged Betty and Billy. Don't send Walter away. He goes tomorrow, said Father. They pleaded, but Walter just farted. It was all over that night. Betty and Billy cried in their beds, and Walter looked at them unhappily. Oh, Walter, said Betty, you've got to stop farting, because Father is going to send you back to the pound tomorrow, said Billy. Look at all of them. They all look so sad. So sad. And Walter's sitting there farting. And there they are crying. Walter knew how serious the situation was. He never see Betty or Billy again. He resolved to hold his farts in forever. When Betty and Billy fell asleep, he walked down to the kitchen to see if there was anything around to eat. He managed to open up the cupboard door with his nose and found a 25-pound bag of low-fart dog biscuits that the vet had prescribed for him, which had made him fart even more. Now let's talk about how big 25 pounds is. So, Brookie, I think you weigh a little bit more than 25 pounds, but not a whole lot more. Like maybe you weigh like 45. I don't know. But think of half your body. That's how much low-fart dog biscuits that Walter ate. Even though he knew they made him fart, he couldn't resist. He ate the entire bag. Very tasty, said Walter to himself. There he is, big box. Kitty's judging him. Look at all those dog biscuits. Oh, he's already farting. Do you see that? And then he went and laid down on the sofa. A giant gas bubble began to build inside of him. This is going to be trouble, Walter said to himself. He was afraid of what might happen if he let go. He thought maybe the house would explode. So he kept it in. It wasn't easy. In fact, it was torture. But he had resolved to never fart again. His future depended on it. And as he lay there with his tail wrapped tightly between his legs, he heard a noise at the window. See? He's getting bigger. Definitely bigger Walter. There's the kitty sleeping on top of him. And then there's a funny little picture that looks a whole lot of like Walter in a lady form. He watched the window slowly open. A pair of burglars came through. They dropped silently into the kitchen. Watch out for the dog, said one of the burglars. He won't bite, said the other. He's a wimp. Walter might have bitten them, except he was so filled with gas he couldn't move. They tied a rag around his snout so he couldn't bark. Okay, whispered the first burglar. Let's clear the place out. They took everything they could get their hands on, and Walter wanted to stop them, but he was having unbearable gas pains. He rolled on his back and waved his paws in the air. He gnashed his teeth. We got it all, said the second burglar. Let's go. See, he's saying to be quiet, and he's saying, let's go. They're taking a lamp and a blender. I don't know what that is. That's when Walter let it fly. It was the worst fart of his life. It made him made a tremendous noise and shot him across the room. Should we make some fart noises right now? Should we? I feel like a really good fart noise is when you stick your hand next to your mouth and go. That's what it sounded like, but way bigger, right? Because it's a whole dog. So he's going all the way across the room like this. A hideous cloud filled the air. The burglars clutched their throats, unable to breathe. With tears in their eyes, they raced for the window. They tried to grab their bag with all the valuables in it, but their arms were too weak. Let's get out of here. They jumped out the window and ran up the block, choking and gasping for air, still blinded by Walter's attack. They stepped into the headlights of an approaching police car. "Hold it right there," said the policeman. When Father and Mother came down in the morning, they found the open window, and they saw the bag with their valuables in it, and Walter was sitting beside it. He still had the rag around his snout, and you'd have to say that he looked a little heroic. "He saved the silverware," cried Mother. "He saved the VCR," cried Father. A VCR is an old way to play movies. Now we play them directly from the TV, but about 10 years ago we used a tape, and that tape played in something called a VCR. You do not have to remember that, because it will be not important ever again. "Good dog, Walter. You're our dog, even if you do fart all the time." There's them. They're so proud of him. Look at that. They still tied his little snout. Poor guy. There's our kitty. And so the family learned to live with Walter, the heroic dog. And that's the end of our tale. I love this picture the most because we have the whole family sitting together while Walter farts. The end. So one thing that's kind of cool about Walter the Farting Dog is we get to kind of talk about how you have 5 senses, and sometimes you can see something or you could smell something, but sometimes they don't go hand in hand. Like, can you ever see a fart if it's not in bubbles? Or you can hear a fart, but do you ever taste a fart or you touch a fart? How many senses are there? There are 5, right? So we have taste, touch, smell, hear, and see. And so Walter obviously couldn't get away with farting because you could hear it and you could smell it, but you couldn't always see it, and you hopefully never tasted it. But in a lot of ways, it really made him a special dog, right? And the cool thing is that what they did at the end of the story is they accepted him for his flaws. And I think that's really important about getting to know people, is that you have to kind of know what they do funny, and you have to say it's okay. Well, that's the end of our story for today. I love you, Brooke. Bye.